Hey folks, welcome to 108 Stitches, episode 5. My name is Emily, and this is a knitting video podcast, mostly about knitting, maybe some other crafty things, not really recently, and then just a little bit about baseball as well. I'm going to try to remember all of the things that I want to say at the beginning of the episode. I feel like every time I post an episode, I go back when I'm like editing it and I think, oh gosh, I just forgot that one thing. So I'm going to try to remember to fit it all in here. So again, my name is Emily and I live in Seattle with my husband in office and our pup Norman. I work as a baseball analyst for the Seattle Mariners. I always forget to say that and then I feel like I reference it and people are probably really confused. But yeah, so I work as a baseball analyst for the Seattle Mariners. I did not record last week, so I've been doing a pretty good job of recording every week. And then last week there was a lot going on with work and I wasn't doing as much knitting, and so I thought it would be better if I just waited and gave myself an extra week to like get some more knitting done, and also just didn't really have time to record last weekend. So yeah. Oh, the other thing, I think I only mentioned this in my first episode, so I keep forgetting, but you can find me, I always put this in the down bar and it will always be there, but you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Emweecurt, EMWEECURT. And I also just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who has been sending me messages. I said this before, but it brings such a smile to my face. Yeah, I've gotten some really, really kind messages and on there, and like just all the comments that you guys put down, and like the likes and the subscribes and all of that. It just really makes me feel good about doing this. So thank you so much. Yeah. So again, sorry for not recording last week, but hopefully I have some more to share with you all today. So I guess we'll start with what I'm wearing. So I am wearing just a hand knit sweater today. This is actually probably my very most loved knitted object. I think I wear this the most and I love it the most of all the things that I've ever knit. So this is the Docklight sweater. Gosh, I don't remember the designer. I should have written down the designer. It's the pattern was in like it was through Brooklyn Tweed. It was through like a Brooklyn Tweed like set of patterns. I think in like fall or winter 2014. I don't actually remember, but this is called the Docklight sweater, and I will link it below. Really sorry for forgetting the designer. And the yarn I knit it out of is Blue Moon Fiber Arts in their Silky Victoria base, and this is the color True Blood Red, I believe. And this is just like you probably can't see very well, and also it's like really pilly, and I don't want to like scoot up just so that you can like, I don't know, maybe you can see the pattern a little bit, but it's like a brioche pullover with kind of like a lace type detail every once in a while. And I love it, and I kind of want to knit another one. I want like a gray one, but we'll see. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. Oh, it's bottom up. I don't know how much I'm supposed to talk about the things I'm supposed to. I guess it's up to me, but yeah, it's bottom up and with set-in sleeves, and it's the only time I've done set-in sleeves and I didn't love it, but I do really love the sweater. So yeah, that is what I'm wearing. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Finished objects. I have a finished object. This is something I think I've talked about in every single episode of my podcast. Yeah, so this is episode 5. So it's been 5 episodes, but I did finish this shawl. This is, let me do right side. This is the girl from the grocery store. So let me hold this up. It's just bigger than my wingspan. And this is a pattern by Locatelli. And I knit it as part of Hohi's Fall Knit Along, which is still going on right now, although I don't think you can sign up anymore, but it is still happening. And the yarn is Grenouille Company, Grenouille Co. And the dark gray is the colorway Lampblack, and this lighter one is Hecate. And those are both in her 85-15 sock base, so 85% superwash merino wool. Is it superwash? I think it is. And 15% nylon. Yeah, so I finished this. I actually finished this last weekend, I believe. And I waited and woven all the ends today. And I have not blocked it yet. So I'm actually hoping that it'll grow a little bit. I'm also hoping, you can see the edging here. It's kind of like straight. And I want this like gray stripe to wiggle like this one here is. I don't know if I'm pointing at it. I don't know if you know what I mean, but, so I think I'm gonna block it and I'm gonna pin out the bottom part so that it like wiggles a little bit along with the feather and fan pattern. On the whole, I'm pretty happy with this. I actually really, really love the stripey section more than I thought I would, and then the feather and fan section at the bottom, I don't like as much as I thought I would. I thought I was gonna love this section. Like, this section is why I knit this shawl, and I ended up just really loving the way the stripes look. And it makes me want to knit like a big wrap with diagonal stripes. I think Pearl Soho has one. I don't remember what it's called, like diagonal pinstripe scarf or something, that I may do next. And I really liked the high contrast with like the dark gray and this lighter color. So anyway, I've already talked about this a whole bunch. I'm pretty happy with it, how it turned out. I wish that you could see the feather and fan section at the bottom a little bit better, but I'm hoping that when I block it, that will happen. But in general, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Here, I can put it on. My husband in office really likes this. He said it's one of his favorite things that I've knit. Actually, I think he just really likes this dark gray color. But yeah, I don't know how exactly I'll wear it, but I do really like it. Yeah, I don't know if I'll knit another one, but if anything, I'll probably just knit another big stripey wrap. So that is that. Finished object. Well, almost. It's finished, but I do still need to block it. So there's that. And then the only other finished object, I forgot to mention, said to do an elastic bind off, and I did Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off on the edge, in case anyone was wondering, and it worked pretty well. I like the way that it looks, and it's pretty stretchy. I'm hoping that I can, since it's so stretchy, I can pin it out so that it'll be wiggly on the bottom. Yeah, and then I have a half finished object. So we'll get into this a little bit later, but the baseball season ended for the Cardinals and for the Mariners as well. So I finished my first baseball sock. So if you haven't watched my previous episodes, basically what I do is, I mentioned I work for the Mariners as a baseball analyst. I love baseball. That's why I talk about it in this podcast as well at the end often. But I am, this baseball season, I knit baseball socks, which means that I just, I knit one sock for the Cardinals because I grew up a huge Cardinals fan, and still am. I still follow the Cardinals. And then I knit one sock for the Mariners, and I'll show you that one in a second. This is my Cardinal sock, and I knit a red stripe in the leg if the Cardinals won, and I knit a yellow stripe if they lost. So this here, from top to bottom, is the Cardinal season and how it went. So the Cardinal season is now over. Spoiler alert, if you were wondering how the Cardinals' performance was going in the playoffs, their season is over. So, but yeah, I finished the Cardinal sock. I decided to go with a yellow foot. I thought that would kind of tie both the socks together. So I'm doing a yellow foot on the other one as well. And then the white heels, toes, and cuffs. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I did a white stripe. I don't know if you can see this. I did a white stripe in between the foot and the leg, just so that you could tell like where the season stopped. So unfortunately, both the Mariners and Cardinals seasons ended in a yellow stripe and ended on a loss. And so it would have just kind of like gone into the foot and you wouldn't really know like where the season stopped. So I decided to put a white stripe in there. So you can definitely see like you can see where it breaks up and like this is where it ends. I don't know that I like the way it looks, but I like that I can tell where it ends, if that makes sense. So anyway, yeah, this is my finished baseball sock. This is just a normal vanilla sock. I didn't even really follow a pattern. The white yarn is Madeline Tosh Twist Light in the Salt colorway. The red and the yellow are both the Violet Valentine. The red is in the Sin Wagon colorway, and the yellow is Tangerine Dream. And I knit them, I think these are 56 stitches around, which is what I normally do. And on a US 1.5, which I believe is a 2.5 millimeter. And like I always do for my socks, they're on my Chaogu 9-inch circulars. So yeah, I'm done with this one. I still need to weave in the ends. I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel as well. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I don't know if you guys can see this super well, but the Salt colorway, the Madeline Tosh Salt colorway, has little speckles in it, and the speckles are red, yellow, and blue, and they go so well with this yarn. Like the red and yellow match perfectly with this one, and then my Mariners sock is blue and yellow, and I feel like the speckles just match perfectly. So anyway, that's my last finished object. So we'll go with a good transition right into works in progress. Let me turn my page here. Yeah, this is my first work in progress that I was going to share with you all. This is my Mariners sock. Nothing else really to add here. I just need to put in the heel and the foot and the toe, and then it will be done. The blue yarn here is Knitted Wit in their Victory sock base, and the colorway is Oregon Sky. So you can see here, this is how the Mariners season worked out. So if you look at these two, it's interesting. The Mariners were much streakier. You can see like they have longer blocks of yellow and blue. Like they have some winning streaks and losing streaks. And the Cardinals were like much more back and forth. So there's a lot more like switching colors. And I just carried up on the inside. Here, let me show. Maybe you can see. But I just kind of like carried the yarn up on the inside. I don't know if you can see this. But yeah, I just kind of carried it up. So that I didn't have to like weave in ends for every stripe. But yeah, so those are my baseball socks. I'm hoping to finish this one pretty soon so that I can have my baseball project from the season. Yeah, my second work in progress is my Poet socks, and I really wanted to have the first sock done for you all, and I had that goal, and then I ended up taking 2 weeks to record instead of 1, and so I thought, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to have 1 sock done, and I do not. And it's because of a later work in progress that I'll tell you all about in a minute, but don't have a whole bunch of progress. I don't even know if this is worth showing. I basically just put a heel in this. So last time I think you all saw it, I had done the leg, and yeah, so these are the Poet socks by Sari Nordlund, and the yarn is Woolberry Fiber Company in their berry sock base, which is actually a BFL nylon, 80% BFL, 20% nylon, and I really like working with it. It does feel like, I tried to describe this in one of my previous episodes, and it's like very hard for me to describe, but it's not rough. It feels like a little bit more rustic than merino, I guess. But yeah, I'm in love with this pattern. Sheesh. It is just so gorgeous. I can't wait to block this. I think it's just going to look so gorgeous blocked. But I put the heel flap in, and I did the heel turn, and I just picked up for the gusset, and I've done like 2 rounds on the gusset, I think. So hopefully I can do more of that. So today is, oh shoot, one of the things I was supposed to say at the beginning, and I forgot, but today is Saturday, October 10th. So tomorrow's Sunday, and Sunday is often a day where Nofis and I watch a lot of football, the NFL, because we play fantasy football and just, football Sunday. So hopefully I can get a lot done on this sock while we're watching football tomorrow. So yeah, what did I miss on that? I knit these on my Chowgu 9-inch circulars. They are US 1.5. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's just, I don't know. I've been kind of motivated to work on other stuff. So yeah, that is that. Hopefully I'll have more progress for that, on that for next time. And then my last work in progress is actually a new cast on that you all haven't seen. Actually, I did a little sneak peek because I swatched for this, I think, in my second episode. But I think I mentioned then that my knitting group and I were planning to cast on the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May together. And we did that. So I think it was last Sunday. So I think it was just less than a week ago. We do like virtual knit nights. We get together on like Zoom or whatever, like Google Hangouts. We've kind of moved around a little bit. But so we all kind of cast on together and started knitting the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May, and I have been cruising on this, it feels like. I don't know. This feels like a lot to get done in a week, maybe for me. But yeah, so this is the front, and I think this is the back. So yeah, here it is. Again, this is the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May. The yarn that I'm using is, so it is one strand of like fingering weight yarn and one strand of silk mohair held together. So my fingering weight yarn is Tosh Euro Sock in the Stormborn colorway, and my mohair is, I think it's pronounced Buches silk mohair in the dark blue turquoise colorway. And so I'm holding these together, and I want to give you guys kind of like a close-up here of the way this fabric is turning out. I don't know if it will, there you can kind of see it. But I don't know, I love it. I think it's really gorgeous. I was nervous. I think you may remember when I was talking about this in the second episode when I swatched for it, but I was like, I liked it, but I was a little uneasy about the color. Like I'm normally much more, I don't know. I don't want to say neutrals because I'm wearing like a dark red sweater right now, but I don't know. I thought maybe I would do like a neutral mohair with this yarn because I knew I wanted to use the Stormborn, but my friends kind of pushed me and like nudged me to do the dark blue, and I really love it. I think it's turning out really gorgeous. So I'm really happy with it. I split for the sleeves, I think, yesterday, and I've already done like some, maybe 4 inches below that. Oh, Norm came up. I don't know if you can hear him. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think I've done maybe like 4 inches under the sleeve. The pattern I think only calls for 6 inches under the sleeve, so I'm getting pretty close actually, but I think it's a little cropped, and I'm not sure. I may add a little bit of length to it, but yeah, I'm knitting a size small, which I believe is the second size in the pattern, the 38 inch bust. So I think that'll give me like 5-ish inches of positive ease. And I'm knitting this on a US 6. I believe the pattern calls for a 7, but I got gauge on a 6. So yeah, this is my Cozy Classic Raglan, and it feels like it's flying. I don't know. I've really enjoyed working on this. I love the way the yarn feels. The pattern, I really like the way the raglan increases look and like the way they work. I really like those. So I don't know, I feel like I'll probably knit another one of these at some point. Yeah, and that is all I have been working on. I have a couple things that I want to cast on soon. I think I showed maybe 2 weeks ago or so some really gorgeous light blue Brooklyn tweed yarn that I got, and I want to make the Poet Shawl by Sari Nordlund with that. So I think I'm going to cast that one on soon. Although, I don't know, I may just like finish this Cozy Classic Raglan before I cast anything else on. Yeah, and then I have a couple acquisitions that I want to share with you. I guess one other thing that I want to cast on soon that I can talk about now before I get into acquisitions is, so Amy Florence of Stranded Dye Works does a festive sock along, and that just started, I believe. It just started at the beginning of October. And I'm really excited to participate this year. I have never knit festive socks before, like Christmas socks before. I've actually knit very few pairs of socks for myself. I've only knit 2 pairs of socks for myself. And I've knit probably like, at this point, maybe 15 pairs of socks total. I don't know, I really love knitting socks for other people. So anyway, I want to join in on the festive sock along this year, and so I did buy some yarn specifically for that, and I'll show that in a second. But an idea that I have, so I was actually watching Melanie from the Cozy Cardigans podcast, which you should definitely go watch if you haven't already. But I was watching from the beginning her episodes because I just discovered her podcast recently. And she had knit a sock using helical knitting, and I've used helical knitting before, but only to alternate skeins in a sweater. So if you're not familiar with helical knitting, I'm probably going to do a horrible job here of like explaining it, but I'll just say it's a way of like doing stripes without having to like carry your yarn up the inside of your garment, or having to like weave in your ends or anything. It just it's like you're spiraling your yarn. You should look it up if you're interested. It's very easy to do, and yeah, and I enjoy doing helical knitting for alternating skeins or whatever, but I'd never done it for stripes before, just like intentionally to stripe yarn together, and Melanie was using that to stripe a sock. She had 2 yarns she was using helical stripes, and I thought I'd been actually kind of looking for some self-striping yarn that was red and white to make like candy cane socks. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I have loads of leftover yarn from my baseball socks. Why don't I just take the white and the red, and I'll make my own candy cane socks using helical knitting. So I'll do helical stripes. So my plan is to do that with these. And I don't know, I really like the look of single row stripes. I really like thin stripes. So I think this will turn out pretty good. Maybe it'll be weird because the stripes will be so thin, but I don't know. I think it's worth a try. So that's one thing that I don't know if I'll cast that on first or my other Christmas socks first, but I do want to make candy cane socks with helical stripes. Yeah, and then I guess I can go into my acquisitions. So my first acquisition is the Christmas yarn that I was talking about. So this is my first time ordering from Nomadic Yarns. Nomadic Yarns is a self-striping yarn company. And I got my first ever Christmas yarn from them. So this is in their Twisty Sock base, and the colorway is Christmas Past. So the Twisty Sock base is 80% merino, 20% nylon. And here it is. I want to show you all so you can see all the stripes. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully it'll focus. Maybe? Please? There we go. Look at that. Okay, so there are 5 stripes. You can see the green stripe. There is a dark, like really plummy purple stripe. I don't know if I'm pointing at the right one. This like dark plummy purple, and then like the teal and pink, and then like a redder stripe, like in the front here. And I just love it. I love all of these colors. Oh, it'll focus. Yeah. I love all of these colors, and it's like, it's not like super in your face Christmassy, but it's still, I don't know, it feels like Christmas to me, so I'm excited about that. So if you're interested in doing the festive sock along, check out Amy Florence's podcast and like her Instagram. I think you can see it on her Ravelry group as well. There's some information there maybe, if Ravelry is accessible to you right now. But yeah, so check that out. She's also inclusive, of course, of if you don't celebrate Christmas, if you just do like winter socks or, you know, any other kind of festive, wintry type of sock, that counts. So yeah, I'm excited to participate this year, and hopefully I'll do 2 pairs of Christmas socks as part of the festive sock along. So that is my first acquisition, and then my second acquisition, sorry if this is really crinkly, I'm gonna try not to crinkle it too much, but I ordered a little sneak peek. I ordered a sweater's quantity of yarn from, oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher this, I'm gonna try my best to say it, De Rerum Natura, which is a French yarn company, I believe. And I ordered 8 balls of their Ulysses base, also unsure if I'm saying that correctly, which is a 100% merino. I don't think it's woolen spun. I was reading about it and it's like partially woolen spun, partially something else. I don't know. It feels like halfway between what you would get from like a really rustic yarn base, halfway between that and like what you would get from like most indie dyers, if that makes sense. So it's like soft, but also like kind of rustic. I don't know if I'm describing this well at all, but I really, really like it. This colorway is Pauvre Blanc. I took French in high school, and I should have probably pronounced that better, but yeah. But it's just this really, really nice, super light gray color, or it's like a creamy color, but it's got like little tiny bits of like white-ish, and not bits of white, sorry, it's mostly white, but it's got bits of like little gray in it. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see that very well, but I really love it. So I actually saw a pattern for a brioche pullover. I think the pattern is called Birthday. I don't remember the name of the designer, but I'll try to include that in the bottom. And the designer used this yarn, and I really liked the sample that the pattern was knit with. And so I really wanted a sweater quantity of this. So I got 8 skeins of it, or 8 balls. It is like a sport weight yarn. And I think what I'm going to do with it, actually, I want to do a brioche pullover. But I saw a sweater, it was like an Instagram ad that I got, and I'll try to include a picture here if I remember to, or if I can, but I saw a sweater that had this it was a brioche pullover, and it had really unique like details on it. So it had like the raglan, it was a raglan, I think. It's hard to tell because I was just looking at the picture, but it had like the raglan seams like right here in the front, and then it also had kind of raglan, or not raglan, but it had like shaping down at the bottom, kind of. Sorry, this is I don't know, not the best thing that movements that I should be making with my hands right now, but it had like diagonal kind of shaping, right? You get what I mean, like kind of on the sides of the sweater, like, right here on both sides. And so I found another pattern that was somewhat similar, but not exactly the same. So I may try to do my best to, I'm not going to like write a pattern because I don't know how to do that, but I may try to heavily modify and like piece together a couple patterns to make something that I like. We'll see how that turns out. I have lots of other sweaters planned, so I don't know how soon I will get to this, but I really like it, and I'm excited about it. So yeah, I've got 8 balls of that in here. You can see all my yarn in there. yeah, so that is all the yarn related stuff. That's all I have for acquisitions. So I can give you a quick kind of life update, especially since it's been a couple weeks. My life the last couple weeks has been pretty heavily dominated by work. I think I mentioned in my last episode that as the season was wrapping up, there's a lot of like season end related things that I had to do. Just participating in like, you know, getting off-season documents and information to our players and that kind of stuff I participate in, as well as just some other like end of season type things. Norman, do you want to come say hi while I talk about my life? Come here. Okay. Here's Norm. Yeah, so work has been really heavy. There's just been a lot with that, and then also we are hiring. So we're hiring into the Mariners Analytics Department, and I've had a pretty heavy involvement in that. Norman's looking out the window. Come here, bud. Stay here. There you go. Why don't you settle? Yeah, so there's been a lot going on there. The only kind of fun thing I have is that we were planning to, last Monday, we were planning to go apple picking, and I was really excited about that. And then we were planning to go on Monday, and then they actually closed and said that because they had such high volume of folks coming on Sunday, they were like pretty wiped out. And so they had to leave. They were going to close for a week so that they could let their apples ripen. So I think we are going to try to go either tomorrow or Monday, if they're open tomorrow, probably on Monday. And hopefully we'll be able to go because I want to get some apples and I want to make apple pie and I want to make applesauce in the crock pot. Has anyone ever done that? I saw someone was like talking about it on Twitter, and I need to like find a recipe online. So if anyone has a recipe for crock pot applesauce, it seems like it's pretty easy. You just put like a whole bunch of apples in the crock pot and like cinnamon. So we'll see. But I'm really looking forward to that, and I want to make applesauce. And then, yeah, also just to keep you all up to date on the breakfasts that we're making, because I don't know why that's something I've decided to share, but last week we made pumpkin pancakes again. Those are Nofis's favorite. He absolutely loves the pumpkin pancakes, so we made those again. And then this weekend, so tomorrow morning, we are going to make breakfast potatoes and like eggs and sausage, and I think I'm going to make some mini cinnies as well, which if you're not familiar, just mini cinnamon rolls. We made them quite a bit when I was younger. We made them with my Grammy as well quite a bit, but it's just like you roll out crescent roll dough and you put like butter and cinnamon sugar on them and roll them up and then cut them up and bake them, and they're super easy and they are really yummy. And then you put like a glaze on top, like just a powdered sugar and milk glaze. That's super yummy, so I may make some of those tomorrow morning as well, which will be delicious. Other life things, I feel like, yeah, both Nofis and I have just been working like crazy. We fit in a little bit more Overcooked after we beat that level that we've been stuck on. If you are a returning viewer of the podcast, you'll remember me lamenting over this one level of Overcooked, which is like a co-op video game that we play together, my husband and I, that there was like one level that we were having a lot of trouble beating. Not beating for the first time, but there's like this extra objective where you can get like, 4 stars on it rather than 3 or whatever. Anyway, so after we beat that, we've been kind of cruising through levels since then. And so we have played a couple times since then and have had some success, so that's been nice. We are working on a puzzle as well, and we actually got a time-lapse camera that we set up, and so we capture when we're working on the puzzle, and I'm really looking forward to finishing so we can like look at the footage, and maybe I can post that like on Instagram or something so that you guys can see. So that's been a lot of fun. And then otherwise just lots of watching football and watching playoff baseball. So I think that's a good segue into my final section, which is baseball. referenced this a little bit earlier, unfortunately, but yeah, the Cardinals and the Marlins. So if you're not familiar, I basically follow 3 teams pretty closely. One is the Mariners, of course, because I work for the Mariners, and the Mariners did not make the playoffs this year. The Cardinals, because I grew up a Cardinals fan, and then the Marlins, because my husband is a Marlins fan, which, again, he has no ties to Miami. He just is a Marlins fan for a weird reason. But, yeah, so we follow those 3 teams. The Cardinals and the Marlins both made the playoffs this year. And the Cardinals lost in their first round of the playoffs. They lost in a 3-game series against the San Diego Padres. Yeah, the Padres are, to be quite honest, are just a better team. They're also a very fun team this year as well. They have a couple of really young, fun players, and yeah, so the Cardinals lost in their first round. But the Marlins actually won their first round. They beat the Cubs, the Chicago Cubs, which is always good news. The Cardinals and the Cubs have a big rivalry, so I'm never have been a very big Cubs fan. Always, if possible, rooting for the Cubs to lose. But yeah, so it was double sweet that the Marlins beat the Cubs in the first round. And then the Marlins went on to play the Braves in the second round, and they lost to the Braves. The Marlins are now also eliminated. We are now set in the championship series of the MLB Playoffs, which means there are 4 teams left. So on the National League side, there are the Los Angeles Dodgers against the Atlanta Braves. And then on the American League side, it is the Tampa Bay Rays versus the Houston Astros. So I think the championship series starts tomorrow. So that'll be exciting. We'll probably watch some of that, even though none of our teams are left. I don't know, like to watch baseball, and it'll be fun to see how that goes. I really think the Dodgers-Braves series is going to be particularly fun. So that'll be a fun one to watch. And then the only other thing that I wanted to mention that happened in baseball the last couple weeks, I mean, lots of fun playoff games and other variety of things that happened, but it just seems like it's a regular segment of this podcast to talk about a Cardinals great, and unfortunately, in this case, again, it's a Cardinals great that passed away, Bob Gibson, who is a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals a while ago. He passed this week. He was really well known as an incredibly fierce competitor, and with he was a pitcher, so like a really aggressive kind of pitching motion as well. But just over and over, you hear folks describe him as like an incredibly fierce kind of competitor. He clearly played with like a lot of passion, and yeah, so really sad to see him go. I think he was pretty involved in the Cardinals organization as well. A lot of the current players were talking about having relationships with him, and so that was really cool to see as well. But he also had like a really unique pitching motion. There are like pictures of his delivery, and it's definitely very, very unique. So I'll try to include a picture here as well if you're interested. But so that was sad, but also nice to remember Bob Gibson. Really incredible pitcher as well. I don't know if I like highlighted that enough. He like won the Cy Young, which is the award for the best pitcher in each league. Every year they give out, and he was a Cy Young winner, and probably would have won more Cy Youngs if he hadn't pitched in a time when there were other like really, really incredible pitchers. So also, I think he was like a World Series MVP maybe at some point. I should have looked up his like awards and history and stuff, but really an incredible pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, and yeah, will definitely be missed. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about, all I wanted to cover. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Again, if you're interested in finding me elsewhere, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry, both as MWeKurt, and on Twitter, but I don't really do knitting things on Twitter. That's mostly just me retweeting things about baseball, generally. Yeah, and I'll make sure to include everything I talked about again in the down bar, and if you have any thoughts or questions or anything, feel free to comment or send me a message or, whatever. Yeah, so I hope you do lots of knitting and watch whatever baseball is left, and have a great week. Bye.